Right now we are in the living room in our Airbnb in Los Angeles, and tomorrow we start American Idol. So we're all gathered around the old microphone here. First, let me introduce Caitlin, my fiance.
Hello.
Thank you. Also, let me introduce Tom Lord, my manager.
You probably remember me from the previous podcast I did, and I want to thank you for all the comments and letters.
That was one person. It was one person.
Well, yeah, but I need to DM them back. Thank you so much.
And obviously me, what we're going to do, because the year-end lists all come out, we're one after the other. It's the best this, the best that. So what we're going to do is go around the room and do our top 5 songs from 2020. Just straight up top 5 songs. There was no genre that had to be, defined, or we didn't have to, pick any sort of music. And so we'll go first with Tom Lord. You're up first.
This was a really tough one for me. I got to be honest with you, going through it. And
Caitlin's looking at your songs going, what the?
Well, she does have bad taste in songs.
Obscure.
Well, I'm a bit obscure. No, honestly, it was a weird year listening to music. It was at my house mostly, and just kind of went with my same song. So, the first song on my list.
Wait, are we doing 5 to 1, or are we just naming 5 songs? Just so it can be any song.
Oh.
There's no order, and we'll just keep going around the room.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was going to do my first song.
Oh, we're going one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and we want to hear why. Right, Bobby?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, my first song is Time Stands by Nathaniel Rateliff.
Let me hear this. Here it is.
You showed me this song. It's so good.
I once ran into him at a radio station in Colorado. He's a Colorado guy, I believe. And maybe Mike and I were together, or maybe I was just there touring. We're about to go on the air there, and I saw this guy, kind of chubby guy, but I knew what he looked like, and I was like, "That's Nathaniel Rateliff." Nathaniel Rateliff from the Night Sweats is what I know him from.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's him. He fits everything. Like if someone were to be like, "Oh, he's a nerdy guy," that'd be me. And I was like, "Hey, man, big fan." And he almost seemed shocked that I knew who he was.
Well, when you're kind of a chubby guy walking around, not a lot of people stop you, I guess. I know that feeling. I can confirm.
I didn't mean that in a bad way.
We blend in like an octopus. You change your shape and color to blend in with your environment.
All right, Caitlin, you're up.
Okay, we're not doing it in any order.
You can do anyone you want.
Okay, my number 1 favorite song this year is Holy.
We just said no order.
No,
and
now you just named it. Well, then, and if you're going to do it that way, save one for last. You know what I mean? Like you don't just jump right in.
One of my favorite songs in no particular order is Holy by Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper.
It is, and I was convinced. It took me a second. She was like, I love this song. Yeah. But I've become a big Justin Bieber fan in the past year.
Yeah, me too.
Because of her and me watching things that I didn't associate with my thought of Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Because we do have a perception of Justin Bieber based on what we see on the very surface from every one of the tabloids, from every one of the websites that want us to click in. But then once we start watching the YouTube series and her, being around that crew a bit at church, and I was like, oh, I think I can like this guy.
He has convinced me too. Not that I didn't want to like him, but I think same thing. If you're not diving into someone's music, your only opinion is based on external influence until you get into oddly enough, when I got into Justin Bieber is when I had my first child, and we were watching the same animated shows over and over again. And it was one day I said, let's watch something different. And I got fed his documentary, his first one that he put out. And I thought, well, this will be interesting. And that kid was talented, still is talented, but just the way he was busking in Canada and his determination in touring and even independently releasing his music, like I was sold. And I got to tell you, I almost put that song on my list.
Really?
It was an edge.
The video is great too. Like he's working, he's like an iron worker
and an oil
field,
and
he loses his job. Yeah, it's really good. She said that Justin would also sing at church. Just get up and sing.
Yeah, he would lead worship at church home sometimes.
See, again, things you don't know about, things that made you go,
Well, I was surprised I never saw that on the internet.
Yeah.
I was like, who was going to pull out their phone and record that? Never saw it.
Yeah, and I just love that song because it's like new Justin.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm very strong in my faith. These are the two most important things to me, God and my wife. And I'm putting that all out there in this song.
Fun fact, he had Holy that Florida Georgia Line ended up cutting. That was his song, and he gave it up. He cut it, and then was like, I don't want to put it on a record. Then Florida Georgia Line got it second, and they have Holy, yeah.
That's not true, is it?
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
Really?
That was a Bieber song.
That is so interesting.
And if he'd put that one, I probably couldn't have put this one out.
Right.
Because they'd have been like, we
That's
already
too
have
many
a
Holies.
Holy song.
It's like John
well,
Party
thank
putting
God.
out another Boots song. Dirt on my boots, head over boots.
Yeah,
Like
but
Johnny's done. He can
might,
no
though.
longer put
He's
a boot
done
out.
2, though. He could do 3.
Well, that's once you do the trifecta.
My first song is going to be from the Chris Stapleton record, the new one. And I would compare this song to when I watched the movie Her or when I watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I only need to watch it one time. This Chris Stapleton song, Maggie's song about his dog that died, it pops up, but I never go chase it because it makes me too sad. So, but the first time I heard it, I was emotional because I had a dog for 15, 16 years that I just love more than anything. And now I have a new dog where, that same feeling is starting to happen. But I heard this song. This is Maggie's song on Chris Stapleton's new record.
Maggie, run with the heart of a rebel child. Oh, run, Maggie, run, be just as free as you are wild.
I was talking to him a few days ago and I asked him, hey, which song I asked Morgan, his wife, what was the most emotional song for Chris to record? I don't know, because Chris doesn't talk a lot. But I knew if I could, and I know Morgan a little bit, and I was like, Morgan, you tell me. But when Morgan starts talking, Chris lights up. So then they started talking amongst each other and to me, and he started talking about this song, and he said that this is the one that he cried through, and you can hear him crying in the last verse of the song. Like you can literally hear him crying in the recording of this. And he said it was so hard for him to sing. He wrote it in a day, recorded it, laid it down, cried to the back end of it.
I just feel like there's something in the way he delivers songs too. You just listen to it with a little more emotion, like Whiskey and You from the album Traveler. Same thing. I just sit there and listen to it, and it's like I feel it. And I think with this one, I feel the same way. It's just how he does it.
Yeah.
Like if another artist sang it, would it have the same impact? I don't know. It's just the way he sings it that feels so real.
That Whiskey and You was a phenomenal song. He sang that at our Raging Idiots Ryman show. He came out and played with us, and he did That's the Difference in Whiskey.
See, when we sing it together,
sounds
first of all,
great.
it sounds great, but it
I
does
listen.
sound different.
Yeah.
I listen though.
Just because you're in the same room.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Tom, you're up. Give us another song we've never heard of and we'll never hear of again. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I want to stay on theme. That I wasn't going to go there necessarily, but staying with Chris Stapleton because this new record, diving into that, I mean, there's so many. I think Starting Over is great, but that is not my Chris Stapleton song. That's on my consolation list, which I do have, which I'm not sure we'll have time to
Tom
get to.
sent like 30 songs over.
Well, I did say,
said-
I was trying to rank them a little bit in different
I
genres.
said, send me 5 songs, all genre. He sent me the 5. Then he sent me the backup team of 5. Then he
That's
sent
right.
me his all country version.
That's correct.
Yeah, and then he just picked out random, and it's what popped up on Spotify.
Yeah.
That's it.
The recommends, I just go to the
Yeah, he just
recommends.
went, here are the
and
5
I just
different
randomly pick. No, so staying with Chris Stapleton from the new record, You Should Probably Leave.
I know you, and you know me, and we both know where this is gonna lead.
What this song reminds me of is seeing Chris in concert, because I'd seen him play this a couple of times already before the record came out. I said to him, I said, hey, this should be your next radio song. And he was like, well, first of all, he doesn't care which song gets picked for radio. And you can,
I think for him, it's like if he puts it on his record, he believes in the song.
Yeah.
And so it's not, he doesn't sit there and dictate what songs should or shouldn't be played at radio. He kind of leaves that to other people who that's their job. But this one, I'm with you. I've heard this song on this record, but it has been living in the Chris Stapleton ecosystem for a while, and he plays it out. It's kind of a fan favorite. And I just was so happy he put it on this record, and it's the showstopper to me.
I believe he recorded it years ago, and just hadn't put it on a record yet. Because
that could be.
He went down to Muscle Shoals and recorded, and they lost all power while they were recording. And they were like, well, we can't keep recording because everything's shut down. Do you know that story?
No.
Well, he talked about it. You should listen to my show. It's pretty good.
I don't get up that early.
Yeah,
in COVID, you sleep in.
Caitlin, what's next?
My next song in no particular order is Adore You by Harry Styles.
In the same way that we were talking about Bieber, I feel the same about Harry Styles in that I just know him as the goober from One Direction, and how real can they be? However, once you really start to listen to this guy, you go, oh man, we shouldn't hold that against him.
Yeah. If you take One Direction out of it, you'd love him.
If he were just marketed as a rock artist, like an alternative artist that hadn't been in a boy band, I think he would be a massive alternative success. Mm-hmm. They'd probably not put some of these super love ballads on there, but his rock stuff, the texture of those songs, sounds like it could easily be an alternative song.
What he has done for me, and he has a positive reaction, maybe it's negative to me, a very positive reaction on my wife who loves Harry Styles. So I get a lot of Harry Styles in my household.
My other one is God Whispered Your Name, Keith Urban.
Thank you.
Whispered your name, and that's when everything changed. Love came.
I just remember when this song came out, I was just like, I feel like that's Caitlin in my mind.
Aww.
And I still feel that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you just had a post on your socials that sort of like completely put your heart out there too. What'd you say? I breathe. What was that?
It was her. She took a selfie on my phone.
Yeah, that wasn't me, by the way.
No,
I
hold
didn't
on.
even post those words.
Hold on. That was all a joke that a lot of people didn't get, which means it wasn't a good joke. So anytime she gets my phone, she takes a selfie of herself.
Yeah.
So I posted that picture of her taking a selfie of herself and then wrote something that she would write from my voice.
Got it.
I guess it was a little too highbrow for the common folk out there.
I always take a picture with his phone because I always have to hold his phone whether he's doing Breaking Bobby Bones or whatever. So I always just take a picture like, here's this behind the scenes of me with a mask on sitting staring at you do your thing so we can have a nice compilation at the end of the season. And so I did that.
So the sincerity that I read into it, that it doesn't even really exist.
No, and it was the joke.
You didn't mean
the
that?
joke was if she were posting that, which it looked like, that's what she would write for me to say about her.
People thought you were just saying
Everyone
it.
did, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Did you not mean it?
I did mean it. But I got a lot of people that were like, that's so sweet of you. And I'm like, does nobody get this failed attempt at an Instagram joke?
I think people just think you feel that way about me.
I do.
I do too, yeah.
And then God whispered your name and everything changed.
Oh, sweet.
All right, next up, Tom.
Well, taking a real left turn.
Tom goes, oh, sweet. Okay, anyway, so...
Well, this is definitely not that sort of love story, but American Aquarium, which is a band that I've loved over the last several years, put out a record called Lamentations this year, and I love it top to bottom. But there's a song on there that, having been married for now 22 years, I know that sacred relationship between a husband and wife and telling the truth. And it's interesting that we've had a lot of our friends that have been married and then get divorced, and you can just see, it's sad to see how some of those relationships dissolve. And I think this speaks to how that might happen. It's a song called The Day I Learned to Lie to You.
Yes, my biggest regret in life, the thing that keeps me up at night, the day I learned how to lie to you.
Are you doing okay, bud? Because we've had a few songs here.
Yeah.
You like to feel.
I like to feel.
I love
it's
that
interesting.
about you.
I think I live in a very utopian life. Like it's pretty Pollyanna in the Lord house. Like I love my wife. We've been married for a long time, and we have 2 beautiful children. But music is sort of my escape, and I live through different songs. And there's a song Jason Isbell has called "Traveling Alone" that I just love, and I'll sit there and cry with that. Or it's Adele. What was her big? Oh, I'm blanking on the title. No, but Someone Like You that I'll listen to, and I'm like, I put myself in their movie, and it just makes me feel something. This one just makes me feel something, it's outside of my reality, but that's why I go to music. That's why I love music.
I mean, all my favorite songs are slow, sad songs.
Yeah, they see.
I mean, except for the few now that remind me of her, they're all like Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, Willie Nelson.
Well, like Maggie's song. Yeah.
Ain't No Sunshine, Maggie's song. It's got...
Yeah.
That's the only way to get me, because I don't feel happiness. I've started a little bit, huh? We had this
You
talk.
don't feel
I do now.
Therapy.
She just told me in the car ride back from Malibu. She's like, we're teaching you new things. Joy.
No, I said it. No, I said before. It feels like from the stories I've heard from others and from yourself that you struggled to feel happiness and joy at one point in your life. But now I don't feel that that's the case. I think you're happy all the time.
And then God whispered your name.
Oh,
That was sweet.
the day I learned how to lie to you. Oh, so good. So good.
Caitlin, you're
I
up.
encourage people to listen to it. It's so good.
American Aquarium, right?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. Caitlin.
Okay. My next song is 7 Summers by Morgan Wallen.
But I wonder when you're drinking if you find yourself thinking about that boy from East Tennessee.
The funny thing about this is, so once Morgan had his trouble, he went away for a bit. He came back, and he was only going to talk to one person, and I got lucky. That was me. So he came over to the house, and I said, hey, Caitlin, Morgan Wallen's coming over, because she loves Morgan Wallen. She's like, well, we're going to go out, and what did you go do? You guys went to...
We went to watch Stashira play in her championship soccer game, which was pretty important.
That's great.
Amy's daughter. And I was like, hey, but hurry back. You can say hi to Morgan. And she didn't give a crap about any sort of celebrity, but so that she didn't come back. But what happened was Morgan walked over to the main house and sat on the piano and played in the living room. And she was like, oh man, can you get him to stay? And I was like, he's already gone.
That was really cool.
I did see that. That was cool. What's funny for me, I wanted to put, and it's now 2 years old because I was trying to find a loophole. Now, just to be clear on my list, these aren't songs that just got popular in 2020, and maybe we all felt they had to have come out in 2020. So I was trying to be really cautious of that because I think still for me, heavy rotation is Whiskey Glasses. You've heard me say that before. Like I still love that song, and I'd probably put that as a top 5 listened to country song for me this year, even though it's now a year and a half old or longer.
Yeah, and I would say even on, because I'm going to play mine, which is Chasing You. That was a single in 2020. It's been out, but if it's been sitting on a record, I guess for me, my loophole was when was it released as a single? And this song was released as a single in 2020. But here's my third one, Chasing You. This, I was never a Morgan Wallen guy, and I told him this. Like, I just thought, all right, he's Florida Georgia Line's buddy. He's just a, like they are. They're known for just kind of having fun. And I was like, do we need another having fun guy? Unfairly judged him, but he had that song Up Down, right? With Florida Georgia Line. Yeah. Unfairly judged him. And so he starts to put out a couple songs, and I'm like, okay, and had friends who were passionate Morgan Wallen fans. Before he blew up, went to a show because there were a bunch of iHeart people there during a radio convention. It was packed at Marathon Music Works. I'm like, what am I missing about this guy? So I invited him up to the studio, and he played Chasing You during the St. Jude Radiothon last year. And I was like, oh my God, he's so good. Like, he not only does he have good songs now, but he has an extremely distinct voice when he talks and when he sings. Difficult to have. So yeah, and I told him I'm now a big Morgan Wallen guy, but I wasn't at first, and I was wrong.
Similar to me, I think we all get a little jaded. I've worked in this industry for a long time. So when a newcomer hits the scene, you're like, okay, he's got one song. Or I see it, Florida Georgia Line, Up Down. You see, okay, that's how they're getting an audience. But he has consistently done it. More Than My Hometown is great. Love that song. And, the songs you guys added to your list.
Where would you put his ascent up there? Because, listen, we've never seen anything like Luke Combs. But this late Morgan Wallen extremely strong push is something that I haven't seen a lot either.
Me neither. But, I don't know that we would have known it. There may have been a similar sort of swell for artists, but we didn't see it as quick because we're seeing it now real time with streaming. Before you could see it with album sales, and album sales would do well. But now you're seeing real time all these Morgan songs from the first record to this record dominating the chart. He and Luke Combs dominating the chart in that way. I'm with you on that. Luke Combs and now Morgan Wallen are
they in the same category to you right now?
I give Luke still edge on that, but Morgan is quickly on his heels.
Yeah, quicker than I would have imagined.
Me too.
And Luke Combs now is, listen, the guy's only been around a few years, but he's now like the guy, and Morgan Wallen's like the new cooler guy.
Yeah.
Which isn't fair because Luke Combs has just popped up on the scene.
He's still new, I know.
And he's crushing it. But I'm starting to see people now go, which one do you like better? Like matching them against each other. Like, are you a Morgan Wallen guy or a Luke Combs guy?
Oh, see, you can't, I don't even put them in the same category that way. It's
I don't either. Nor do you have to.
No, but and I just hope, and I'm glad we're talking about him because I don't know that the industry has given him the respect. I don't know that he's helped himself in some cases, but I don't think, and I saw it like with Grammy nominations. Morgan Wallen, I think, deserved a Grammy nomination, maybe for Best New Artist or Singular Song, and didn't get one. And, maybe it just wasn't his year for that for whatever reason, but I hope the industry recognizes that. Like we talked about before, like we talked about with Florida Georgia Line, there are some artists that the industry just doesn't quite lift up.
I would say that was the Dan and Shay thing for a long time.
I think it was too.
Until they just kicked the door down with so much data that if you ignored them, it was obvious you were only ignoring them because you didn't like their style.
Yep. And I'm in a similar plight. I work with Gabby Barrett, and I feel like that's the same for her. Like, I think everybody's going, okay, she has one song, and they're not totally seeing the whole ecosystem and the fuller reaction that she's getting as a whole.
Is that our truck getting broken into right now?
It's not ours.
I love LA.
Come on here. Bring something, Caitlin. Uh-oh, she's getting up to go look. Oh,
Stop.
They got it. Yeah. All right, that's fun. Leave that in. Caitlin, your next song? Now, was it Tom?
So you did Chasing You?
Yeah, I did. We're all three in.
We're all three in. Okay. This is a Lord household favorite.
Baby Shark. I knew it.
I'm doing Macarena. Is that too old? Moon Taxi, Light Up.
Oh, I can see it. Stars are lining up. Oh, I can feel it. A changing in our luck, baby, with diamonds.
What are these guys about? Because I hear their name, but what's Moon Taxi about? Who are they? Well,
They're Nashville band now, but they have quietly, they're sort of based out of Birmingham, Alabama, Nashville band, and have just slowly and I think a little bit quietly built a really big following. Like my wife and I went and saw them New Year's Eve at Municipal Auditorium a couple of years ago to a sold out show there. And there's something about them. They consistently make great music. And my wife, who's been a fan of theirs for a number of years now, I'll say this is her influence on my list because she loves them so much that, like I said, it's in heavy rotation. So this is a newer song, but they have songs like Morocco that I love. I mean, you go back, I say similar like I did with American Aquarium. American Aquarium has a great catalog of songs, as did Moon Taxi, but they've never had that big major label break.
are they on a major label and are they a rock band?
They were on a major label. Now they're off the major label and they're a rock band. I would say they have the potential. This is me, again, biased, but I look at a band like Imagine Dragons who has great energy on stage, poppy kind of rock songs. And I look at these guys and I go, man, these guys could be in Imagine Dragons. I think it's really catchy songs, great energy on stage, hugely talented. And I'm a melody guy. And so there's so much melody to their music. I'm a fan.
Caitlin, what you doing over there?
Looking them up.
I'm looking.
It's your
at
turn.
Spotify.
I know, it's your turn.
Okay.
Calling an audible.
No. My next favorite song of 2020 is, I was trying to figure out if it's Levitate or Levitating. I think it's Levitate by Dua Lipa.
Levitating.
Yeah,
here you go.
I got you. All night, you're my starlight. I need you. All night, come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need
Just so everybody knows, Caitlin grabs my ear, tries to rip my headphone off. It goes
Very violently.
Very
violently.
Feeds back into the microphone.
I don't have headphones, so I can't hear my song.
You do love Dua Lipa.
I love Dua Lipa.
You are a pop music fan. Your popness is coming through. Mm-hmm. Well, and country.
Yeah.
She's like 85% pop.
I used to be all country. I mean, really probably until the last 5-ish years.
Favorite country song of all time?
You're the reason God made Oklahoma.
You're the reason
course.
God made Oklahoma.
Of course. I think mine's Amarillo by Morning.
That's
Or
a
I
good
Will
one.
Always Love You.
Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, or If Tomorrow Never Comes.
Ooh, oh, good.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Dua Lipa?
No. Saw her
Where?
around town.
Nice. All right. Matt Carney, Grand Canyon, mine.
Tell me why it feels like there's a grand canyon between us.
Fun fact, this song came out the week before we went to the Grand Canyon to shoot my Nat Geo show, and we sang it the whole time. There you go. How fun was that?
And that quickly made it to the top of your list, didn't it?
Well, I needed to put an homage to Matt Carney in there because he's our guy.
Yeah.
Right?
He's our guy.
And I like this song. Give me another one.
All right. Mine is Mount Joy, Strangers.
So are we 5 for 5 on not knowing any of Tom's artists? No, I guess
You know
Nathaniel
Chris
Ratliff.
Stapleton.
I've known a few because you let me listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it? Turn this up. Say this again.
Mount Joy, Strangers.
Mount Joy. Okay. You're so indie.
So good.
You're such an indie guy.
Man, I grew up in an era where I listened to, just everything, and I played in kind of an indie rock bands, and I loved the Pixies and Pavement and Unrest and the Police, and then I like hair metal. I'm all over the place. Yeah, I'm like an enigma wrapped in a mystery.
Once we did a show, Caitlin, where we were like, let's pull a drummer from the crowd. Who knows how to play the drums? And it was Tom. We set it up, and then he played. He did good because he used to play drums. And then people were, what did we say your name was?
Reggie.
And people were talking to you all after the show, like, Reggie did a great job.
Oh, I leaving the show that night, walking in the back alley after the Ryman, there were people lined up, and they were like, it's Reggie! You did so great! Now you're blowing my cover.
Caitlin, your final song?
My final song is I Should Probably Go to Bed, Dan and Shay.
I should probably go to bed so I don't undo the God over you.
What do you like about that song?
Everything.
Nice. Good answer.
What do I like?
Like, why is it on your list?
It's just so interesting to me. I like that it sounds a little bit like Queen. I love Abby Smyers, and Dan Smyers is her husband. I just like the song. I like everything they do,
love it
but I
too.
love this. It's just so, I think it's so unique.
My final song is Brett Eldredge. This is Fall For Me, which this is my favorite album he's ever put out. Maybe
Great
not.
record.
It doesn't have a monster on it yet from the radio. I know Gabrielle's still trying. But as far as like music that I would listen to all the time, like this was a home run. And I know for him, this is, I think, the most he liked putting out a record. Because I think these were right down his lane too, right down his alley to write them and sing them and record them. So there you go.
I think part of the reason my list is I almost had a list that was fully songs from Yellowstone because I got so engrossed in Yellowstone.
Yes.
So I tried to diversify from that, and then I kept peppering some in. But I love that song from Dan and Shay.
So good.
That for me is a top 5 country song. I didn't put songs on of people that I directly work with because that felt biased.
Oh yeah, you could have put Gabby because you worked
I
with
could have
her.
put Gabby.
Oh my
Raging
gosh,
Idiots.
Gabby,
But the Raging
Good
Idiots,
Ones.
Namaste.
The Good Ones is her jam. I told
The
you
Good
that.
Ones is my jam.
Well, and when I look at my most played songs, I've got Chris Jansen and Gabby Barrett and some other artists that I work with, and so I tried to do a list without them. But Dan and Shay on my country list, I'm just jumping into it. I do have Chris Stapleton. Hard to forget Sam Hunt. I'm surprised that's not on our lists.
It's a good one.
That Sam record too. I missed it when it came around the first time when he put it out because it was right in peak early coronavirus.
Yeah.
But then once I just kind of sat on it for a few days in a row, every song is fantastic on that record.
Yeah, it's a great record.
Oh, here's going down his list that he made. His
Well, no,
secondary
I
list.
should probably go to bed. It's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Yeah, I made the list.
At number 23 on Tom's
This is
countdown.
full countdown, right? Now what are we going to talk about? Movies? What are we
No,
gonna talk
that's
about?
it.
Oh, that's it?
We just had a half hour. Pretty close to half hour? Yeah. Well, thank you. Let me thank my guest, Tom Lord,
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Caitlin,
Thank you for having me.
and me. Thank me for having me. All right. Thank you, guys. Hey, guys. It's Bobby Bones. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and then go check it out. A lot of artists, a lot of songwriters, a lot of music. Welcome to the Bobby Cash channel.